It's been 34 years since you auditioned to become a Radio City Rockette, and here you are back in the hall where it happens. So we wanted to ask how you feel about being back in this room where it all began.
Being back home, the Rockette's home, it feels good. This was the room I actually had my audition in, and I can see myself as a young 19-year-old just being nervous and wanting to dance because dancing was in my heart, my body, my soul. This room brings back a lot of memories of the young girl who had a whole lot of hope in New York City.
As the first Black woman in the room with all of these women, did you feel different? How were you received in especially the first moments?
When I came in, there were people who were very welcoming. They thought it was time for the race barrier to be broken, showing me the tips of the kick line, how to hold your arms, don't push too hard. But there were people who were not happy to have me on the line, and they made that known as well.
Yeah, I always think about how the irony of being a woman of color in a line that doesn't necessarily look like you, where you're supposed to look the same as everybody. So
yes,
for me
yes.
Coming into the line, I was like, how am I gonna do this thing looking like everybody when innately I look different? And so for me, it became a big thing of, okay, Danelle, you have to work harder, you have to pay attention more, you can't make the same mistakes, because it's about not pulling focus.
Right.
And we innately pull focus just
right.
by the way we look.
Right.
So, and I'm sure tenfold you went through that.
Yes, the eye was definitely on me, and it definitely honed in on the craft as well.
When you first began your career with the Rockettes, how were you received by the African American community?
I got so much love from around the country, from the African American community. They said it was, about time that the color line had been broken, that they would bring their families to come see the Christmas show. It was something new for them. I don't think a lot of African American families would come see the Christmas show. So I think this was a new phase that was introduced to their family traditions.
Yeah, and it's, I think about now when I get on that stage and you look in the audience and you see everything in the audience.
Yes.
You see everything.
Yes.
And to have a reflection of that on stage.
It's beautiful.
It's so beautiful and it's so important.
It's so important.
And I think about, now in our social media day and age where the messages that I get from parents of little children or even from young dancers coming up and seeing a version of themselves and how it truly makes things seem more accessible,
Absolutely.
Just to have that representation there, it makes it more of a possibility.
Yes. As a child, you can inspire them, and if they see something, especially on the great stage of Radio City Music Hall, seeing a Rockette that looks like you, what more could you want?
Does it all.
Yes.
It's really amazing to see the steps that the company goes through now to make sure that we look just as put together as everyone else.
Yes.
And to know that it wasn't always that way.
It was not always that way. And I am so happy to hear that these changes were made for you. The first time that I realized that the tights didn't match mine, I went up to my dresser before a show and asked her if I could have tights my color. Not meaning right then and there, but eventually, whenever she got a chance to go to Capezio, possibly, can I have some skin tone tights? At 19 years old, she yelled at me that she was not going to change the costume. They're not changing the costume for anybody. Those are the costumes, and that's what you get. And not only until the 15-minute call, but until I got dressed and got on the elevator and went down to take my place on stage. I still heard her yelling that this was the costume and I was never going to get tights that color. So for you to tell me that it's come this far, I'm so happy. I'm so happy. It means so much to me. Danelle, I've shared some of my story with you and about breaking barriers, coming in on the line. And can you tell me if anything's evolved within the company?
I think one of the great things that the company is doing is outreach. These young dancers at the Harlem School of the Arts, where they have the Harlemettes that are completely modeled after you and what you did for the Rockettes, to get to that school and get to work with those students and not just show them what we do physically, but to talk to them and to hear their experiences and to let them know that there is a place for them on this line. There is a place for them in this building.
Absolutely, and I'm so happy that Radio City has this outreach program and has found you and Aubrey Lynch and the Harlemettes and showing these young dancers a way forward to follow their passion.
Looking back on your career with the Rockettes now, how do you feel about the things that you accomplished with the company?
I feel so blessed that I've been able to have the career that I've had and to have this platform and to be able to have women of color follow in my footsteps and have me pave a way for them to follow their dreams and their passions is so humbling. And I'm so grateful and thankful for the opportunity that I had to come here so I was able to follow my passion and follow my dreams and continue that on for others. I'm just so happy that Madison Square Garden has taken this time for Black History Month in recognizing the importance of it and of the women on the line. So I'm very happy that this happened.